Are we overreacting? Hi, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to another episode of As I See It. And if you clicked on this because you saw my face, this is not about RV life. This is my political channel where I talk about all things political, current events, social issues, and things like that. Yesterday, I posted the video about the Supreme Court decision to end democracy by appointing our president a king who is immune from all official acts. And I hope those of you who are saying we're overreacting will actually read the decision and understand that this isn't about protecting a president who, for example, got rid of Osama bin Laden, or any of the other millions of things that presidents throughout history have done without worrying about needing immunity. It's not what this is about. If presidents needed immunity to do their jobs, why has no president ever needed it to this date? Out of 45 out of 46 presidents have not needed immunity in 250 years. Why all of a sudden is it needed now? So the Supreme Court decision made it very unclear, or actually made it very clear, that they are the sole deciders of what's an official act and what is not. So, are we overreacting? I want to talk about overreactions in this video because got a lot of comments, and I've seen it all over social media, not just aimed at me, that the left is overreacting. Let's talk about what an overreaction looks like. There's an invasion at our border. An invasion. They're trying to take our pew-pews away. You know the word. I can't say it, or I might get demonetized. They're trying to take our pew-pews away. Trans kids are... The LGBT community is indoctrinating our kids. So no flags. I don't care if my son's teacher is married to a woman, another woman. She can't talk about it. Can't talk about it. You're brainwashing our kids. There's an invasion at the border. Trans people are gonna use the bathrooms to hurt our children. That sounds like overreaction. Especially since none of those things are really happening. None of those things are really happening. Trans people aren't hurting your children. Priests are. Police are. Republican men are. In fact, did you see the court Epstein case files that were released yesterday? Trump. Read it. 12, 13-year-old girls, what he did to them. So, you want to talk about an overreaction. Your overreaction to made up fake things that are meant to distract you from what's really going on. That is an overreaction. Versus a former president who literally knew his audience had pew-pews during his campaign speech at the Capitol on January 6th. He knew they were armed and invited them to march to the Capitol with very inflammatory language. We have to take our country back. I mean, I don't exactly remember what he said verbatim, but he was using inflammatory language meant to inspire them, and that's not the word I'm looking for, to raid the Capitol to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. We saw that. It's a fact. That person who called on his supporters to end a tradition of a peaceful transfer of power in our country now has carte blanche, is now able, as long as the Supreme Court, who's on his side, obviously, says it's an official act, he's allowed to do it. They said in the hearing, go watch the transcripts of the hearing, they said quite possibly if he uses SEAL Team 6 to take out an opponent or an enemy, they literally said, yeah, that could happen. He stole classified documents. Stole them. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an accident. Biden had some classified documents, and as soon as he found them, he turned them over. He didn't fight. He didn't legislate. He didn't refuse to turn them over. He didn't have his aides hide them in closets and bathrooms. Sure, it's going to happen. When a president is moving out of the White House, it's very possible he's going to walk away with a couple classified documents. Trump walked away with boxes and boxes and boxes full, and when they were discovered that they were missing, he didn't admit it, but when it was discovered that they were missing, he did everything in his power to keep them, to hide them, to obstruct justice, to keep them. These are the acts of a criminal. These are the acts of a traitor. So when the Supreme Court makes a decision that a past president, i.e. Trump, is immune, yeah, you're darn right, we're worried. It's not an overreaction. History repeats itself. Do you think Hitler and Stalin, the people who were in the beginning, who were all on board with Hitler and Stalin, do you think they saw what was coming before it came? Do you think the people who were all like rah, rah, rah about Hitler and blaming the Jews, do you think they saw that millions and millions of innocent Jewish people would be murdered? That millions and millions of LGBTQ people of color and enemies of the state would be murdered? They didn't see it either, and neither are you. You're not seeing it. You tell me I'm brainwashed. You tell me we're brainwashed, and you tell us that, that we're brainwashed and that we are overreacting. If you're calling the left brainwashed, I mean, I don't even know what to say to convince you that, what do they say? Whenever you point the finger, there's three pointing back at you. So, here we go. How many news sources do you have? How many sources of news do you get? One? Maybe two? How often do you read or listen to the other side and what they're saying? Often? Never? If you're only getting your news from one source, or maybe even two sources, Fox and maybe OAN and Truth Social, let's say. If those are the only places you're getting your news from, and you never, ever, ever bother to fact check, do you ever fact check your news? I fact check my news all the time. I don't care where I'm getting it from. I fact check my news. I go to the sources of my news quite often. Especially if something sounds too good to be true or sounds unbelievable. I fact checked MSNBC. I fact check Rachel Maddow when something doesn't seem right. How about you? When's the last time you fact checked your news? And I'm talking to the people who think I'm the one who's brainwashed. When is the last time you did any independent research? I'm not talking about some random idiot on YouTube like me. I'm talking about going to the source. I'm just another random idiot on YouTube. I'm not an idiot. But I am just another person on YouTube. I don't even expect you to take what I say for face value. Do your research. Here's the thing. There are two types of people. There are the curious, who are usually the most intelligent. They're extremely curious. They want to know. They want to get to the root of things. And then there's the intellectually lazy, who aren't as intelligent. Which are you? You can't be curious and get all your news from Fox News and believe everything they say. That is not a curious, intelligent person. That's a follower. That's an intellectually lazy person. So you can't call me brainwashed if you fall into that category of the intellectually lazy who believes everything your news tells you without ever going to the source, without ever fact checking. So are we overreacting? Absolutely not. We are basing our reaction to this Supreme Court decision on facts that we have seen, that we have a dangerous, the biggest threat to our democracy and our country that we have ever seen. A dangerous, narcissistic sociopath, possibly psychopath, who has SA'd women and girls, and it is proven by a court of law. This psychopath now has full reign to break all the laws. All the laws. Do you honestly think that's right? Do you honestly think Trump is going to do what is right for the country with all that power? We are not brainwashed. Our eyes are wide freaking open, and it might be time for you to open yours. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.